Hello, fans of Peace Bro and Peace Sis. Hold on, I'm getting a notification on my phone. Hold on.
Hey everybody, I'm Guilao 60. I'm a Canadian that lives in Nanning, Guangxi Autonomous Region of mainland China. I have a YouTube channel. I basically do pro-Chinese videos showing the world what China's really like.
Hi, my name's Jerry Gray, and I'm quite well known in China for being one of the guys who rides a bike around China. I've got about 25,000 kilometers, much of it around Xinjiang. So when people ask me questions about Xinjiang, I have a lot of comments about what really is going on there.
Oh, hello. My name is Bay Area 415, and I'm here to talk about Wu Mao.
Wu Mao.
Wu Mao.
Wu Mao? I'm getting a notification on my phone on one of my articles, a comment. Wu Mao? What's Wu Mao?
The word Wu Mao literally means half of 1 RMB.
1 RMB, there are 8.7 RMB to 1 pound, and there are about 7 RMB to 1 US dollar.
50 cent army. It's anybody that goes on the internet and says anything good about China or defends China in any way.
The story is that there's a Wu Mao army, and people sit down and they write posts and they get paid.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. You think I'm getting paid by the Communist Party of China. No.
Oh, agent of the CCP. 50 cents per tweet. That's not much money at all.
I get called Wu Mao all the time. I also get called a shill. They figure that it's a derogatory term.
So that is, yes, many times. But in fact, most of the time nowadays, the word is not Wu Mao, it's something worse. The other thing we get called is a bot, a shill. People talk about the CCP or the CPC. One is right and one is not. The CPC is the way they call it themselves. Obviously, translation gives it a different way.
The Communist Party of China or the Chinese Communist Party. What it means to people outside of China is that they think that I work for the Communist Party. Either way, I don't work for them, and neither does anybody that I know who writes positively about China.
Now, I heard Wu Mao being used all the time, and in several different ways as well. I'm a shill, I'm a traitor, I'm a paid communist. I wish. I've been called it all.
Yes, indeed. I've been called an agent of the CCP in the past. Actually, almost every time I do a live stream or some kind of media appearance, those comments come up all of the time.
The first time I heard the word Wu Mao was about 3 years ago, and I took it with a grain of salt. I knew what it meant. It doesn't bother me at all. And what it is, it's just the haters out there trying to belittle people like myself and other content creators out there. Not only the content creators, but the people that comment on our channels and tell people the good parts about China. Are there bad parts? Of course there are, but I look at the good parts. So I'm a communist sympathizer. I'm a shill. I'm a Wu Mao.
At first, I didn't think much of it, but I actually had hundreds of people think that I'm getting paid by the Chinese government to say positive things about them. But I say positive things about the Chinese government because they are doing a lot of things right that the United States is not. You all built a hospital in 11 days to help people get better from the coronavirus. Meanwhile, over here, we bill people over $1 million after recovering from the coronavirus in a hospital. I wish I could get paid to say the true things that happen here in the United States while pointing towards China and talk about all your success that you're having over there. I know, China is not perfect. But as an American, I want to call out the hypocrisy the West has against China. Does that make me a Wu Mao? Or is it just an attempt for people to try to discredit me and my support for the Chinese government so they don't have to face the truth that their own country may not be doing that well, that the West is actually declining compared to China? And we over here cannot compete with China because of what their government has been doing for their people. You know, they say whatever the West lies about, they are actually doing themselves. So, Did you know that the United States has their own Umao Brigade? We have people that are hired by the CIA and the United States State Department that go online and leave positive posts about the United States all the time. They spend millions of dollars every year to post on Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter to promote the West and their operations abroad, including supporting Hong Kong protests.
My response the first time was after I had written an article about my trip to China, and that's when I was called an agent of the CCP for being honest about how I had a good time in Beijing and Xi'an and in Urumqi. And I must say the first time that I heard it, I felt angry that we couldn't have an honest discussion about China in the US media and even amongst people who want to know more about China, because there is all of this anti-China sentiment being pushed by the US government and its media. Now I feel that we're on the right side. Those of us like myself here in the West in the United States who defend China from aggression of any kind from our government, from interference of any kind. I think that is a really important thing to do. So I don't really feel angry about being called Wu Mao or an agent of the CCP, because I know that I'm on the right side of history, and history says that when a people abroad or a nation abroad is being attacked by your own government, then you have the duty to challenge it and to speak out against it.
And if I was only earning half of 1 RMB for every tweet or every post that I put out, I would have to work a lot harder to make an income. And it's supposed to be an insult, but I think most of us who get called Wu Mao are the people who support China or say positive things about China. Not very hard to be positive about China. It's actually a really, really good place to be. It's a good place to live.
There's my old wet market. It's been closed down and it's going to be rebuilt into something very flash and fancy, and probably it'll be done within a year. That's fantastic, the way they operate here. So when I say something positive about China, I'm saying it because I believe it's positive. But then I get these people who call me a CCP shill. I never heard that word until I came on Twitter. Or a CCP bot. I'm not a bot. I'm not a shill. I'm not a Wu Mao, because nobody pays me to say positive things about China.
Don't listen. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to speak out against any kind of US aggression, and just brush the dirt off your shoulder. Keep doing what you're doing, because we need more people here in the West, in the United States, to speak up about the truth about China, that China's rise is peaceful, that its people are peaceful, and that its development model does not pose a threat to the United States, but a real opportunity to address issues like climate change, like poverty, and be proud of being a Wu Mao.
So any of you guys out there that are making videos like I do, or commenting on the channels like I do also, when you hear people calling you Wu Mao, when you hear people calling you shill, or any of these derogatory terms, take it with a grain of salt, because you have to understand it's coming from people that hate themselves. So when they hate themselves, they hate everything around them. Nothing's good. Haters will hate, and that's just the way it is. It's okay to love China. I love China.
The Wu Mao thing came about because people don't like being criticized when they're critical of China. Outside of China, many people say it's a terrible place, it's a really hard place to live, it's difficult government, difficult police, all the problems, communism seems to be bad. Well, it's not. I mean, you can see there's some pretty nice cars on the road here. Communism doesn't mean poor. Socialism doesn't mean poor, it just means the wealth is shared. So if you've got a lot of wealth and you share it, that's a pretty good thing, isn't it? I would have thought it would be. So no one ever said that communists need to struggle and communists need to be poor. So being a Wu Mao doesn't get you a lot of money, and it should be an insult, but in fact, when you're being called a Wu Mao, when you're being called a shill, it's because people don't have a counter-argument. It's easy to say, look at all the terrible things that happen. And then when I say to those people, prove it. They show me articles written by people who've also never been to China. My point of view is this. I've been in Xinjiang. I've spent a long time in China. I understand a little bit about China and the Chinese people. Understanding a little is not enough. You need to understand a lot, and very few people do. The people who live outside of China certainly do not. If you haven't been to China, then please go and have a look. Don't be afraid of them. It's not authoritarian, it's not totalitarian. It's difficult to ride a bike here sometimes, but it's not difficult to live here.
Everybody who challenges me says, you're wrong. You're a liar. You're wrong. We know differently because we see it in the newspaper. And I say, well, come out and have a look for yourself.
You'll find you will have a different opinion if you spend some time here. There are so many things going on in China that are true that there is enough to write good articles about China. There's also enough to write bad articles about China. There's a lot of things which are not perfect here. So, next time someone calls me a Wu Mao, I wear it as a badge of honor. When they call me a shill, I just accept that. When they call me a CCP bot, I accept that. When they call me a liar, I block them. Because I know things that they don't know. And if they're not prepared to listen to what I know, I'm not prepared to tell them what I do know. They're never going to learn, those people.
So if you get called the Umao, maybe you should hold a mirror and say maybe it's you that's getting paid by the United States, or simply say maybe everybody can have their own opinion without being paid by anybody. I just look for the facts and the truth and support governments that help their people and help everybody they can around the world. What do you support? You see, I lost all my money because my insurance is not covering my medical bills for the coronavirus. This is actually my entire life savings that I have to pay off my medical bills for. Now, if you excuse me, I have to see if I can make rent this month. Thank you everybody for joining. 谢谢.